Hi there, everybody. Welcome back to 3 News Now. I'm Stephanie Haney. Happy Thursday to you. It is October 29th. I've got your top stories from WKYC.com and our WKYC app. I want to thank you very much for choosing to be here to get yourself filled in on what's impacting you here in Northeast Ohio on what promises to be a very big news day among many very big news days that we have been having over the past maybe several 10 months or so, I would say. We do have a big press conference coming up at 2 p.m. from Governor Mike DeWine. Of course, we expect to hear from him on what's happening with those 3 counties that have been on the level 4 watch list, being Cuyahoga County, Clark County, and Hamilton County. There have already been 2 press conferences already today. One of them is underway right now, shortly after 12 p.m. The city of Cleveland is holding a press conference right now, and at the beginning of that press conference, they talked about tweaks that will be made to the Cuyahoga County Health Department. They're creating a new division, which will be headed up by a new Commissioner of Health Equity and Social Justice. Now, this new position will be all about access to health, wealth, and well-being. This person will be responsible for researching and implementing action to improve a holistic quality of life here in the Cuyahoga County area and to get at the root causes that prevent people from thriving and achieving their full potential. Now, in the press conference this afternoon, when they talked about social justice, they were talking about it as a lens to look at advancing well-being and growth here in Cuyahoga County, taking a look at people's social environments, the people they interact with, their physical environments, their homes, their built environments, meaning their workplaces, and things like that. And of course, Mayor Frank Jackson did talk about the COVID situation at the beginning of the press conference, said that the city of Cleveland is looking forward to see to what Governor Mike DeWine has to say about whether Cuyahoga County will move into that level 4 purple alert under the Ohio Public Health Advisory System. He said that the city of Cleveland has been acting as if we are at the worst and will take appropriate action depending on what the governor has to say. Now, at 11 a.m. this morning, Summit County Health Department held a press conference as well. The county talked about rising COVID-19 levels across the state, warning about increased hospitalizations, some of the same things we've been hearing about from Governor Mike DeWine, and talked about how they have prepared for a surge, but still don't want that to happen. So, echoing that people need to not loosen up when it comes to those COVID-19 safety protocols. Can't stress this enough. The Summit County Health Department saying again, continue to wash your hands, keep that physical distance, and wear your mask. Now, here's some news for people who are worried about Black Friday. Yes, Black Friday is not going to be happening the same way it has happened in the past this year, but Best Buy has actually got some deals out early for you. They have hundreds of Black Friday deals that were becoming early online, and also they've got some specials right now through November 1st, like a 70-inch smart TV for $530 and a KitchenAid Pro stand mixer for $200. That's a pretty cheap deal. You know, those things are not inexpensive. I will say that $200 is still a lot of money, but that's a considerable amount of money off on that particular item. Can you tell that I've been looking at standing mixers? Other things that they'll be having are all kinds of electronics. And this is just a reminder that Best Buy stores are going to be closed on Thanksgiving, November 26th, but they'll be open on Friday, the 27th at 5 a.m. They'll also be requiring masks and limiting the number of people inside. But they do want to remind you that they've got a ton of specials early this year. So we've got those all laid out on WKYC.com. They're having specials that'll start November 5th, November 11th, November 12th, November 16th, all kinds of different programs that they'll be running. And then the Black Friday stuff starts November 22nd. Now, we are going to turn to something that has been capturing the attention of the internet, and it has to do with the Girl Scouts and the newly confirmed Supreme Court Justice Amy Coney Barrett. Well, the Girl Scouts tweeted, "Congratulations to Amy Coney Barrett on becoming the 5th woman appointed to the Supreme Court since its inception in 1789. That's crazy. Let's just pause for a moment to think about that. Amy Coney Barrett is the 5th woman on the Supreme Court since 1789. The Girl Scouts did point that out, but then they got a lot of backlash because of that, because there are people who oppose the nomination and the confirmation of Barrett. They consider her to be a potential threat to civil liberties and women's rights, being a conservative judge, being a conservative appointee. U.S. Representative Ayanna Pressley from Massachusetts tweeted, "What kind of patch does one earn for uplifting a woman who is the antithesis of justice?" And actor Amber Tamblyn tweeted that tweet is not going to age well when, quote, "access to safe abortion and the healthcare needs of millions of women and girls is gutted in this country because of Barrett's addition to the court." Obviously, very tough words for the Girl Scouts there. Don't think they were expecting that, because they deleted that tweet and then they posted this comment saying that they highlighted the 5 women who have been appointed to the U.S. Supreme Court. That was their intention in posting the tweet, but they removed the post because they didn't want to be viewed as political and partisan. They said, "Girl Scouts of the USA is a non-political, non-partisan organization. We are neither red nor blue. We are Girl Scout green, and we are here to lift up girls and women." Well, when they did that, the other side then had some things to say. TV personality Megyn Kelly, formerly of NBC and formerly of Fox News, tweeted to the Girl Scouts that was a pathetic move. She said, "It's not partisan to generally congratulate the 5th woman ever to join the High Court. It's patriotic. Taking your tweet down is partisan, however, and a real disappointment." And other people also had things to say. The Independent Women's Forum, which is a conservative economic policy group, tweeted, "Of course, the Girl Scouts caved to the mob and deleted this tweet congratulating Amy Coney Barrett. Sad." The irony there is that, yes, people did come for the Girl Scouts for congratulating Amy Coney Barrett, but then for this group to talk about them caving to the mob, when the mob on the other side then is now coming for the Girl Scouts. That's the internet for you, though. Can't win to be the Girl Scouts today. Tough to be the manager of that social media account this week. Now, speaking of the internet can be an ugly place, and nobody knows that better than Chrissy Teigen, married to John Legend, very outspoken. She's the queen of clapping back, as they say, on Twitter, but she posted something very personal this month. October is Pregnancy and Infant Loss Awareness Month, so Chrissy Teigen shared about losing a pregnancy with her husband, John Legend, at 20 weeks. Their child, which would have been a baby boy that they named Jack, was stillborn at 20 weeks. And the moment was photographed by her mother and also by her husband, John Legend. And there were lots of people criticizing Chrissy Teigen for this, saying they couldn't understand why someone would share such an intimate moment so publicly. Well, in a Medium essay, Chrissy Teigen explained it to people who, quite frankly, she didn't owe an explanation to. And she said, "These photos are only for the people who need them." Bereavement counselors, a local bereavement counselor here, Julia Ellifrit, who is the executive director at Cleveland's Cornerstone of Hope, particularly appreciated what Chrissy Teigen was doing there. She said that she's starting conversations that are hard conversations to have, that people don't want to have, about something that people are suffering with, often silently in their homes. And she called this reality therapy for people. She said that the reason that people don't like to talk about pregnancy loss and infant loss is because if they don't talk about it, they're able to be in denial about its possibility. She said, if you lost an infant, meaning the collective you, if someone loses an infant and talks about it, that means that anyone can lose an infant. And people don't want to talk about that because they don't want to think about that. Here's also some interesting information that came out of this whole thing. Chrissy Teigen is not the first person to have a photo shoot at the hospital after losing a pregnancy. There's an entire nonprofit organization dedicated to this. It's called Now I Lay Me Down to Sleep. And this is a worldwide network of volunteer photographers who volunteer to be quickly at hand to go to hospitals and provide free portraits for families who are experiencing infancy and pregnancy loss. Allie Furtwanger is from that organization. She herself lost a pregnancy at 20 weeks back in 2011, and she said one of the things that parents have to deal with is the fear of forgetting about what that child could have been to them. She agreed to a photo shoot with her husband after that stillborn situation in the hospital. She said they held him, they loved on him, they cherished him, and it was a very real, tangible moment for them in those moments, because once that moment is gone, then that moment is gone forever. So Chrissy Teigen not going rogue here. This is something that people do that apparently people are not talking about because people certainly were not aware of it. And lots of people really thankful for Chrissy sharing that moment and opening up that conversation for people who really need to have it. Again, Teigen saying those photos are for the people that needed them. If you didn't need them, just keep scrolling. Now, turning back here to the greater Cleveland area and our Cleveland Browns, congratulations to Myles Garrett, who has been named the AFC Defensive Player of the Month for the month of October. He had 6 sacks, 2 forced fumbles, 4 tackles for a loss, and 8 quarterback hits in the month of October. Now, during that time, the Browns had a record of 3-1, and their overall record, of course, is 5-2. That's due in no small part to the defensive talents of Myles Garrett. 5-2, by the way, being the Browns' best start to a season since 1994. I don't think I'm going to get tired of saying that. I just don't think that I am. Through those games, Myles Garrett, who was the number 1 overall draft pick in the 2017 NFL draft, he has had league highs of 9 sacks and 4 forced fumbles. He has been obviously a huge part of the Cleveland Browns' success so far this season. Now, last year, we know that Garrett recorded 10 sacks through the first 10 games of the 2019 season, but then he was suspended for that incident with the Pittsburgh Steelers. Now, in the first meeting with the Pittsburgh Steelers, we didn't have any issues like that. Unfortunately, we did not win that game. Here's hoping we can change that in the final season game, the final regular season game against the Steelers. But between now and then, Garrett is not practicing right now because of an ankle injury. He was out at practice yesterday. Here is hoping that he has a very speedy recovery, and hopefully he'll be healthy enough to play against the Las Vegas Raiders on Sunday here at First Energy Stadium in Cleveland. That kickoff is at 1 p.m. Now, before we let you go here, since we've been talking so much about the internet today, here's a fun way to pass the time on the internet. Do you think that you could tell which presidential candidate someone supported, whether that's President Donald Trump or former Vice President Joe Biden, just by looking at their fridge and what they have in their fridge? The New York Times thought that would be something interesting to try out, so they connected with an online survey group called Lucid, and they tried it out. They talked to some people who were firmly decided in their vote. They took a picture of their refrigerators, and then they let people guess which candidate they supported. So, how do you think it turned out? Well, 52% of the time, people were correct in guessing which candidate someone supported by looking at the refrigerator. So, basically, you can't tell. It's a flip of a coin, but it's fun to try. Now, I'll tell you, I was surprised when I tried a couple of them myself. I tweeted that link, so have at it if you need something to do on the internet today. You can find that at _Stephanie Haney on Twitter, which is also where you can find me on Instagram. And while we're talking about finding things, 3 News Now with Stephanie Haney is a podcast, in case you weren't aware. You can find that on your favorite podcast provider platform. We're on Apple, Google, Spotify, iHeart, SoundCloud, Stitcher, you name it, we are there. Podbean, Podchaser, all of them. So just search for 3 News Now with Stephanie Haney and you can find it. Please take a moment to subscribe, rate, and review the show so that we can get in front of more of Northeast Ohio. I would appreciate it very much. That's it for your early update for Thursday, October 29th. I'll see you back here at right around 3 p.m. as soon as we get those numbers in from the Ohio Department of Health and, of course, everything that Governor Mike DeWine has to say today about where the counties stand in terms of that public health advisory system. We are all anxiously awaiting that information. Between now and then, everyone stay safe and be well. I'll see you back here in a little bit. I'm Stephanie Haney.